I have immense pleasure and now requesting the chair and also the keynote speaker, Madam NeetaVerma ji, to kindly present her keynote address. I request all of you give a very big applause to the chair and the keynote speaker. Great pleasure, ma'am.
Good afternoon to all of you. I think all of you should respond good afternoon. I'm only wondering you're not going to sleep, because we're still away from the closing of this session. So as I kind of explained in the beginning, because what I had initially prepared, part of this, whatever has been already covered, I'll try and rush those slides so that I don't repeat and kind of make you go to sleep. And so basically, I personally believe that library today are really poised or at the cusp of transformative paradigm shift, driven by AI, driven by data, and more importantly, driven by immersive technologies, AR, VR, and things like this. And as a result, the libraries will evolve from their traditional roles in the times to come. I'm not saying it's happening in the next 5 years. Will evolve from their traditional roles to these dynamic systems of knowledge creation, knowledge sharing, creativity, and so on and so forth. Libraries also have been, association with libraries and Delnet has been since their inception, and I today also admire, they began this Delnet, Dr. Kaul, and then Sangeeta, when internet had not even come to India, and that is how NIC, because it has built a network of its own for the government, and that is what they leveraged in the beginning when internet was not that readily available. So that really shows not only in India as well as outside that how libraries have been at the forefront of use of technologies or adoption of technologies, be it the initial classification systems, be it the printing revolution, microfilm digitization, to internet, which really brought a big paradigm shift in the whole library ecosystem, and then digital libraries, and more importantly, open access, which really democratized so much of our access to knowledge and really put the kind of a need for libraries to really make their contents accessible to everyone and whosoever was committing to this. And it really brought, it really, see, there were time when buying to these journals, access to these journals used to be really late. I still remember when I was initially studying, you used to call our colleagues in various IITs, do you have this journal or do you have this book available in your library? That was the kind of scarcity and that the kind of affordability it used to be. From where now everything is available to you online, even access, even if it's subscription, it's so affordable. Things have really transformed, and a lot of credit to all of you sitting here who have really, who really kind of moved with the technology and made this knowledge accessible to everyone. We are now again another cusp of paradigm shift, which is because of AI, and as we all know and you all have been hearing today as well as yesterday, the power of AI, the kind of transformation or embedding it is, influence it is doing in our day-to-day lives. So I'm not really going to talk much about it, but you know what all it can do. The most important thing to me it looks is AI. The beauty of AI is these models, whatever with the deep learning models, machine learning models, with the small data training, these algorithms can be applied to any domain, right from the basic identity management to medical these things, to even doing various creative things, or even in the libraries for manuscripts and all those things. So that is a power. It has a capability of lateral transformation from one sector to the other sector. Padmaja has already explained how AI has come. AI, in fact, I remember when I was in college, even that time we had a paper on AI, and we always, that time, no internet. So something is happening in Japan, some robo, something we just used to keep here. Till then, the long time AI was, even all of us technologies also feel it is still a technology of lab. In the last 5 years or so, or maybe a little more, it has suddenly become so mainstream. And we have started seeing its application all over. And that is the reason I am saying today is a time we need to adopt this. It's kind that if you don't adopt, you'll be somewhere left behind. So it's that kind. And it is applicable not only to libraries, to every domain, to every sector. It is kind of bringing that kind of impact. So today, if I have to really classify, I'll say AI is basically of three types. One is typical traditional AI, which is built on statistical models, correlation, regression, which is primarily used for predictions, demand forecasting, pattern matching, and things like this. Then you have this generative AI, which has the capability to create something new. Using the same algorithms, building on this, it can create, and chatbot is a classic example, and I think you yesterday had seen a lot about it, so I don't really want to discuss much on this, but generative AI. And third is the agentic AI, where using these AI technologies, the system can do work on your behalf using artificial intelligence capability. And we have all seen, I think enough has been discussed, right from Alexa, Siri, to our chatbot increasing our productivity. Even health sector, I mean, I still remember some time ago I used to feel wearable computing is something which will be in labs and only for certain elite people and all. And you see, I am wearing this ring, which is a very, very affordable ring. It not only tells me how's my physical activity, it tells me how is my health rate, it tells me how is my sleep, whether I'm sleeping enough or no. It tells me how's been my stress levels, how calm or how restless I have been, just by one ring. And why is it so successful, affordable? Because they have integrated it with the mobile app, which Dr. Nabi Hassan was saying that if you, tomorrow if you do any IT initiative, including mobile as a front end of this is one of the critical success factors, because that really makes access very democratized and very affordable at any point, anywhere. That's what the people are always looking for. They don't want to open their laptop, and if I had, supposing if this mobile was not there, I had to open a laptop and see how I'm doing, whether I'm sleeping well or how's my health, when I'm going to have a look at it, you know. And but if it's a mobile, is all the time kind of, you know, putting me alerts and all. Like this, there are many technologies which are particularly focused on or are very much applicable to library science sector, and which can really be used by libraries to enable themselves to this new, or transform themselves to this new reality. Be it automated metadata generation, multimodal intelligence, personalization, real-time translation, which Padmina talked about, or generative AI, predictive analytics, and preservation. So, I mean, since I come from technologies, maybe I'm a little strong on emphasizing, but I still feel that AI has the potential to transform libraries to autonomous knowledge universe where information anticipates inquiry. And therefore, this is my personal request to all of you sitting here, that libraries must embrace AI now to stay relevant and to stay resilient is this new coming bird of ours, in which is already upon us, for that matter. Let me now spend just 5-7 minutes to explain the applications of AI, or the tools which are available from this. This is a perspective of autonomous AI to multimodal AI to edge AI, and tell you, and I'm also going to share some examples how some universities are really using these technologies worldwide to really bring this kind of a transformation into their setups. AI agents, you've really heard about it, basically a kind of a tool or a set of program which can perform a series of tasks, but as guided by us. It needs, like supposing Siri, Alexa, responding when you ask. So it reacts when you kind of ask it. Or chatbot answering your queries. So when you talk to it and say something, and it does. On the other hand is the autonomous AI. Autonomous AI has a goal that this is what it has to do. And rest of the task, basis on whatever knowledge has been given, or it learns over the time, it takes actions and decisions on its own. So that's what is autonomous AI, where your human intervention is very minimal needed. Like say, and there are applications, supposing credit card system, if they are finding there is some fraud happening, they have to immediately block it. They can't really be waiting for human to respond. By that time, the big fraud would have happened. But they have some rules set, they have certain policies in basis which they can. So these are kind of examples of, or self-driving cars. I mean, they have to make decisions continuously, and every time they may not have come across an environment which is very well documented. They have to sometimes apply their intelligence to see how to navigate a car further. And we have already seen some of these big tech companies like Waymo or even Google now has started running taxis. Yesterday also someone told, using this here. So that's a maturity where we people have also started sitting in those cars and enjoying all those things. So these AI, so similarly we can make these AI agents for digital librarians, I should rather say as assistant to librarians, whether it is automated metadata generation. In this digital, when you have digital resources, the monitoring of licenses, the preservation of formats is a kind of back-end activity, but you have to do because the formats become obsolete. The licensing of various documents, had an expiry and validity. So when to renew, when to kind of put this to rest, or when to transform this to new format is a kind of back-end. As you will have more and more digital, this back office activity has to pop. So if you could have some kind of a I should say, some kind of agents doing this for you at the background, that really helps you, enable you to do much more quality work, which is, and provide much better services to these things. So preservation reference service is something which many libraries are experimenting, where first level queries of the users can be answered through these agents. Research support for scholars, I think this is something which whosoever comes from research libraries, these tools are very, very effective tools for to the researchers, particularly when they are in this initial stage of literature review. They can really, believe me, I can say with confidence that they increase their productivity of that phase by minimum by 3x to 5x, because you can so quickly not only scan and assimilate and go through this literature. And for that, no specific program or nothing. This is all available in the open domain. Yesterday I was watching when you were seeing this tutorial on this thing, and I could sense that many of you perhaps felt that AI tools means बहुत सारा skilling का ज़रूरत है. But when you saw him showing, you all suddenly got so involved and started asking questions. ये कैसे करना है, ये आपने कैसे किया है, and I was really thrilled. मतलब, see, that gave me a confidence you really have a desire internally to make a change, to transform your libraries. But sometimes you are constrained by skilled resources and all. So that is what I am trying to do. There are large number of tools which are an open domain through which you can easily experiment and easily kind of explore with them and then play. And I think that I like to congratulate Sangeeta and Delnet that they have initiated this initiative of educating or conducting workshops on basic AI tools and techniques across its member libraries. And I think you all who are really looking forward must attend. Believe me, they're very simple. They are being made in such a way that with the basic skilling, you people have far more skills. You just have to spend some time and you will be able to. And once you will use it, initially use it for your personal use. But once you will use, you will really get ideas how do you apply it to your professional setup. But exploring them and using in your personal this thing also, you will see it increases a lot of productivity. For me, how I use chatbot is, my first thing is anytime I want to learn anything, any one time I want to learn a new concept, my first thing is now go to ChatGPT and understand the basics of that concept. It could be quantum mechanics, it could be any other medical subject. Then if I'm interested, I'll go to the other authentics. But basic concept or acquiring that knowledge or understanding a concept, best tool for that purpose. ChatGPT is one. There are large number of other LLM models which were shown yesterday. So agents are not replacing librarians. Take my word for sure. They are basically, because what has happened, with these digital resources, the speed at which this digital information is being created today, the amount of information or collections which reach to your library have really grown many, many fold. But you have not been able to increase staff to with that of this thing. So these kind of tools can help you. It is like, we were doing automation, initial automation at one point of time when computers and PCs came. It is now second kind of intelligent automation. You could really use these tools to do first work, but the final approval, still keep it with you. I am never saying that you use it as a completely autonomous tool. give it, ask you to do metadata classification and then review it. At least it helps you doing the first groundwork as you've been doing through your interns or other junior people there. These are some examples, some have already been discussed, like National Library of Finland uses an open source tool called, AI model called NF for doing the metadata generation. And though they still call it a prototype, but I was seeing that they were really happy with the success of that tool. And now they are really deploying it. They have the project where the large scale digitization they are doing. So for the first level of metadata extraction, they are using a tool like this. So this is again an open source tool you people can also explore. Singapore National Library, which has an AI-powered librarian bot, is kind of asking your answering your initial questions. Chatbook is a very interesting thing. You know, here what they have done, there's a book on their founding father, Ramanathan, I believe. And they have built a chatbot through which you can interact with this book, ask various questions. The beauty is it does not even answer from that book. It also goes to the other collections on Ramanathanji and then picks up information, video of his past speeches and things like that. So that way, people, especially who are in public library or if you are children library, this is a very beautiful concept to really make that information understandable and really explore that subject onto it. StoryGen is something, they have done a tool where any existing story, you know, many times these stories and novels are written in Western setup. So if you want to transform those stories into your culture and your context by changing the characters, but the story remains the same. So those kinds, so that's what they have done onto these experiments. Second is the multimodal AI. So multimodal AI is basically AI's capability. I mean, it's nothing very new. I mean, you all have been hearing. This is why you call it multimodal, because now AI can read text, images, audio, video, maps, diagrams, handwritten notes, and data sets. So this becomes a great opportunity, especially people who are from museums or so to say culture and heritage libraries, to digitize collections which were previously not possible. Or I still remember I had gone to consult one of the libraries which had these manuscripts which were very, very old. Now their point is they didn't want to give these manuscripts to anybody to scan because it was a real national heritage, and if they go and something gets broken because they were, so it's a huge risk. So the huge deliberations, meetings after meetings took place. We called vendors to finally identify somebody who will not touch this, who will only not touch base scan, and things like this. But these things now have become far easier, doing their metadata, doing their classification, making summarization, because AI will help you do it. This is absolutely new domain, and not much has been done so far. So, and in India it is very important because we have a very rich cultural heritage, very rich history, and to really make it accessible to our new generation is our responsibility. I mean, it's something very simple. You imagine a book, today you do a metadata by title, author, subjects, and some keywords you will put it. But today with AI, you can generate a visual summary of the book. You can see spoken words from if it's an audio book, you can do metadata creation of this. So opens up a new, there are a lot of things written. I can always request Sangeeta and all to share the slides with any one of you who would like to look at it. But the paucity of time, let me just move ahead. Let me give you a classic example which really I liked. If supposing a student goes to a library, uploads a picture of a historical site, and it says, give me information. He or she is a history student. If you have digitized all those resources, so even of that monument, how did this monument look, let's say 100 years before, you will be able to give. So it really opens up a new areas of research, new way of looking at our history, new way of, it really makes whole thing very interactive and interesting. It's a big blessing for people who are visually challenged or Divyang people who could convert any handwritten, I mean textbooks still with braille and all they could do, but handwritten documents to audio description and access to those things. Art historians have a huge opportunity here, and of course researchers, I say, really have this thing. Library of Congress in United States also have done a project where they had digitized newspapers from 1789 to 1963 about 16 million pages, but the part is not only text, the visual contents, photographs, illustrations, everything was digitized and then made it accessible. And I understand I don't have first test experience, but using this was a good demonstration of how multimodal AI can enable new way to access your information. This is again a very well cited example of Trove in Australia, where they have more than 15 billion digital items from Australian libraries, universities, museums, archives, galleries and community collections. European Union also has a similar subject. The interesting part is Norway. Norway is digitizing every book, newspaper, image and audio recording ever produced. So this multimodal AI has given a new opportunity to the people to be able to digitize all of their existing content irrespective of the format it is available, and then making it searchable and accessible in the format people will like to have a look. Finally, I come to Edge AI. Edge AI is when the AI model is running on the tablets, on the mobile phones or on the library computers and kiosks. Why Edge AI is important? First of all, it's a privacy preserving services. That means if you ask questions when you go on internet, it captures your history, it kind of profiles you. If you're very sensitive or you are a high profile person, you do not want to really be even scrolled by these big engines and all, then you can always use this local library services, whether you want to use questions on health, legal, finance, whatever. Low bandwidth, though we say we have gone through digital revolution, we have very low cost data available, but still sometimes a bandwidth becomes a challenge if you really go to those extreme rural parts of India. Their offline libraries or this edge AI libraries become really very wealthy. Especially applications where, supposing as Padma was saying, there's a book in English and you're asking that please read this book for me in Bengali, where it cannot say, translating one para whole, translating second para, that cannot happen. If you really did experience, it has to read that book with the fluency it would have read. That real-time translation needs a good bandwidth. And if you put on the internet and internet is patchy, you will not get that good experience. But these are classic examples, and already Japan and even in India is being used for language translations in real time. Most important, I still see there are some museums and some places where they say whatever collections they have, they want to digitize it, so that make it more, but they do not want to open it for the internet. They still feel they have to secure it. So for that purposes, again, Edge AI. Edge AI, what really happens, you have a server which is locally in your library, and then you have these devices which are in the device. It could be kiosks, it could be tablets given to these things. You must have seen in some libraries. So that is what is all Edge AI. Everything is stored there, everything is being processed there. None of this information, like yesterday, the example they were showing, if you use ChatGPT and tell that my data should not be sent, it on us. But still you always have a doubt. Those fellows saying whether really doing or no, because we have seen in the past lot of mistrust cases with the big techs and all. So we can't really say with authority. But if you really want to be sure my data and my browsing patterns remain with me. And plus, I think the more, I should say, the compelling case is this low bandwidth and language translation in the real time for edge cases. I understand some libraries in Karnataka and Kerala are using this kind of, they have put up kiosks in their libraries to be accessed. I do not have much information, but I'm sure some of you may know. Similarly, in many countries where they are putting this offline AI devices for community learning and multilingual access is and equitable access. So even people with various visual challenge, other kind of disabilities can also access with as much ease as you and I. So in short, if you see the application of AI in libraries, I'm just summarizing and leaving you with the thought, these are the 4 or 5 different areas. Which one is more relevant or which one is more feasible in your context, that you got to decide. Okay. So metadata classification is one classic example which is very much needed and everybody. So even if you use it as an assistant and then do human approval, it's good, it's going to do a lot of productivity and a consistency on what job it is doing. Knowledge graph, I feel, is very important, where you take a topic and then it connects everything around that topic, whether it is people, whether events, timelines, concepts, archive, give you a comprehensive picture of that particular thing. And these are the tools which are doable, And many libraries nowadays are piloting to do this thing. Content generation, I mean educational material. Libraries can use AI, because I said AI, generative AI can generate. You can use a lot of education material which AI will directly give, will definitely have, you know, the culture influence of Western, and sometimes it may hallucinate. But if this content is generated using AI and then verified by librarians of those particular libraries, this can really become a trusted source which can then be put into children's curriculum and all. Simple version of complex. Today also sometimes if I have a very complex picture, what I do is I put it to ChatGPT. It's just one line, believe me. And I say, explain this. It so nicely explains, you know, you don't have to go anywhere. So these are so my personal thing is use these tools for your personal gain. And how will it be used in office will naturally come to you, because you are such committed, dedicated people. You will find ways. But unless you start getting into these things, you will not be able to really appreciate the power of these technologies. Therefore, I also feel, and I think Dr. Nabi Hassan was also showing, libraries, there was a time I used to talk about post offices, such huge buildings in the villages they have, why can't they become an information delivery services? Similarly, libraries also generally very well positioned, very trusted segment of our society. So, and normally they have a luxury of space, which is not there. So, you should also make discussion rooms, deliberation rooms, co-creation activities. These new kind of things should also be put in, because AI, one thing is very important, unless AI will become smarter only when we use it more. If we don't use in Indian context, it will not become, because it is learning also, but if you are not using, how does it know, how is it relevant or not relevant to our context? So therefore, having these hubs where these teachers, students, you can have projects. So this explores our upcoming generation to the power of AI, gives them first-hand experience, and also give them, what should I say, a kind of capability to co-create something new. Last slide is this, I think so. We have 147 zettabytes of data produced every year. And we have already seen how many deepfakes causing harm, misinformation, spoiling the elections output and all. In these things, libraries play a very crucial role as the trusted custodians of this thing in verifying digital materials, providing provenance to the information, and watermarking your digital assets. Very, very crucial, which nobody else can do, only you people can do. And its need for an authentic information, for a trusted information, is really becoming need of the day. We've already seen personalized learning and reading is something, another thing which it can do. Last slide is that any time when you do, I have given a very rosy picture, but transformation of library is not something which will happen. It needs investment, it needs training, it needs governance, and it needs above all community participation. But I still feel you have to start. You can start small and grow big. Choose any area which you think is relevant, and my personal sense is whichever tools you will get open source tools, you will be able to get some basic tools from where you can begin, and then you can take. Another important model which I have seen in some institutions worldwide, many of you are housed into premier research, science, engineering and computer science institutions. Take help of those students there as their summer projects, as their intern projects, ask them to develop or tools around or algorithms around these tools. So that partnership with the science engineering department of your this thing and between you will be a win-win, because they'll be able to, what happens, normally they are mostly seeing all hypothetical examples. Here they'll be able to first an example how this technology can be used for in the real life scenario. So that partnership is something will help you. And infrastructure, a lot of clouds nowadays available from government also, from state governments also, which should help your infrastructure gap to some extent. And above all, whenever you're doing AI, transparency, responsible AI, ethics and privacy protection has to be always at the back of your mind whenever. So how much data? The fundamental is minimalize of data. Only capture data which is important and keep it only for the time it is needed. Then purge it. That's all. Thank you very much.